Guys, I don't know exactly where I want to go with this video, but it's something that I've been thinking about a lot. And like getting back from Colorado and Wyoming last night, we got back around midnight. It was a lot of time to reflect on life. And I almost feel like I'm going through like somewhat of a midlife crisis right now. Early midlife crisis, hopefully. So, I'm only 30. I'll be 31 years old in August. And so much has changed. Like it's mind blowing. Um, and this video will be more applicable to those of you who are of a similar age or older. The younger guys, I just don't know if it's going to make sense because it never made sense for me when I was in my 20s. When I was like 20 to 25, this wouldn't have made any sense. I feel like when you're 20s, 20, 25 even, or younger, um, and even late 20s, there is no sense of time. There is no sense of your own mortality. Um, you just kind of, you go through life and you think you have all the time in the world. You're young, you have all the time in the world. Nothing's that serious yet. Especially if you're not if you don't have a family yet. I definitely think children change things. Like having my daughter has changed my mental outlook substantially, which is something they always talk about. But now that I'm like at this age, it's almost like a midlife crisis of like, who am I? What am I doing? Who do I want to be? What do I value in life? Like you think about these things to a much larger degree than you ever did before. I used to just kind of coast where I would, in my 20s, all I cared about was like, what numbers can I lift? And um, can I hit PRs? And what do people think of me? And, what I just want to get stronger. And my entire personality and who I was tied into lifting as far as the numbers. And it almost was like nice because it was just so much less stressful where it's like all you care about are your numbers. I didn't care about anything else like, having a family or being, financially stable or whatever. It just was like lifting, whatever my numbers are, that's what matters. And as long as those are going up or things are going well with lifting, all is going to go well in life. That's kind of how it felt. And it was very easy. It was very stress free. It was like I could just enjoy life. It wasn't stressful. It was just like, okay, let me get this. It's like as long as I'm lifting more weight, everything's good. And now that's completely gone away. It's completely non existent. I don't know if just being on cycle distracted me from other things and made it to where that was my sole focus or what. Or if it's a combination of getting off cycle, getting off testosterone, and then also getting older and having a kid. It could be a combination of all the things. But now I'm like, I think about all the time. I'm like, what makes you happy in life? What makes us happy? What are the important things in life? Like it's what I think about all the time. Thinking about spending time with family, like seeing family. Something that's something I took for granted all the time before. I barely would see my sister, barely would see my parents, and you don't think anything of it. You're just like, all right, whatever, you know. But then you start thinking as you get older, you're like, well, shoot, if I'm 30 now, let's say best case scenario, I have 50 more years on the earth. Let's say I live to be 80. Well, that's not that much time. Let's say you see your sister, you see your family, you see your parents, once a year. That's 50 freaking times you're going to see them for the rest of your life. Like, holy heck. Is that not just completely mind-blowing? Like, does that not just wake you up to what this is, what we're doing, what life is all about? It's just, it completely shatters your perspective and shifts you into a new mindset. And I know, a lot of you guys might not be away from your family. You might live in the same areas or whatever, but it's just a very humbling thing to think about when you really think about how, what really matters. And like, I even look back on pictures, my daughter is about to be 10 weeks old tomorrow. And I look back on pictures from when she was born and how different she looks and how much she's matured, how much bigger she is. And it's just as like time is so fleeting. So when we get caught up in all this other trivial BS, it makes me wonder, like, what is true life happiness? Is it just having time to spend with those who matter, or time to do what you love? But even if, let's say you had all the money in the world, you would have to fill, you would have time, you would be able to buy time. You wouldn't have obligations where you're having to work all the time, so you could do what you wanted. Isn't that what everyone's after? But what would you fill that time with? You know, if it's one of those things, it's like, that's where the whole thing, money doesn't buy happiness, comes from, because money buys you time to do what you want to do. But what do you fill that time with? And I'm almost like right now struggling with that, in a sense where I'm like, who am I? Am I a power lifter? Am I a runner? Am I, obviously I'm a husband, I'm a father. Those are the first things. And those are the most obvious, and I think God is important as well. Obviously, I think that's probably the most important thing. Maybe it all becomes clear when we put him as the bigger picture. And maybe that's truly what brings happiness, is having a good relationship with the man above. But even expanding beyond that, looking at things on like a deeper intellectual level, it's like, going on vacation is great and all. Going to Colorado and seeing my sister and going to the mountains and all that kind of stuff. But, going to the beach, going to Hawaii, does that really, it doesn't make you happy in the long run. You got to find what you're about, and that's what I'm trying to kind of find right now. Because I'm not going to be as strong as I once was. I really am not. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to be at that point where I'm at the level of strength I was when I was on gear, and I wouldn't want to be, because of the sacrifice for your health. That's another thing that, the struggle is, as you get older, you have to find this balance of, health and fun and all these things. You can't just be reckless. You can't just throw your health away. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Just trying to figure out what I'm doing, who I'm going to be, and what I'm about. And it's difficult. Something I struggle with to figure out, what am I doing? I have all these goals. I want to run 630 mile, 650 beltless deadlift, eventually 700 beltless deadlift, and sub 6 minute mile. Run, long races, marathons and stuff, and all this kind of stuff, and be healthy and just do it all. And I don't know if I'm trying to prove something to you guys or if I'm trying to prove something to myself. I really don't know sometimes. I'm like, am I trying to figure out who I am? Am I trying to know that I have what it takes, mentally, physically? But just like when I was powerlifting at my peak? Or am I trying to just be somebody to the world? Am I trying to be somebody to you guys? I don't know. Something I think about. What's important and who am I trying to be and why? What are my motives? Are my motives correct? Am I doing this stuff for the right reasons? Is it to further my spiritual and mental self, or is it just to impress people? I don't know. I don't know if you guys think about that. The motive behind why we do things. Is it just to impress everyone? Is it to be somebody? Or is it because it's really what we want to do? Is it something we need to grow, to help us grow? These goals, these things we're doing. Why do we want to do what we're doing? It's something I think about all the time. I know that's I might be going off, into a deep rabbit hole here of things that don't make sense, but it's something I think about. I'm like, what is the motivation for doing what we're doing? What are we trying to prove? Who are we trying to prove it to? I don't know. I can't even answer the question. I'd be curious what your take is on all this. I don't know. I feel like I've been rambling, but at the same time, I'm just trying to put my thoughts out there on the deeper things in life, because it's something I think about all the time. I think about these things all the time, and there's never any clear answers. There's never any, like, it's just, it makes you more confused the more you think about it. But I'm curious what you guys think. Why do we do what we do? I don't know. I don't know, guys. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell for the sake of the algorithm. It really will help grow the channel. And I appreciate you guys.